Hello Laura, I hope you're doing well. You are missed at home first. Sorry this palm reading has taken so long to get to you, but it's here nonetheless. You have fire hands, that is to say that you have a long palm and short fingers, which means that you're a no-nonsense type of person. You can be a bit impatient. Most important aspect, I suppose, about a fire hand is that you are a motivated person, and as such, a big motivator of other people. There are some contrasting characteristics seen here, because for a fire hand, your fingers are on the long side, and the gap between the lifeline and the headline here, bad examples there, but you get my meaning, the gap here shows a little bit of spontaneity. The thickness of the fingers shows actually a strong personality, quite intense personality, really strong skill sets here. A highly talented individual. There's a lot of your multifaceted skills seen here. It also shows adds to this sort of no-nonsense approach as well, and it's always seen in very strong and powerful business people. The fingers being quite closed off here, there's no gaps in between the fingers at all, which shows quite a sort of conservative nature, probably quite good with money. The lengths of the middle phalanges show that as well, good sense of material value. The little finger, the mercury finger here on the left hand, the fact that it's kind of like overlapping the other fingers, for me, I sort of feel like the left hand shows what's internal, how we're feeling on the inside. It reveals all of our insecurities and secrets, what we keep close to our chest. I feel the little finger is the finger of communication and expression, and so this, for me, I sort of feel like you're isolating yourself a little bit. In maybe you've only got a few friends, they're probably very close friends, but your social network's probably quite small. Fire hands are usually entertainers, hustlers, business people, agents of some sort, pioneers, literally influencers to some degree. The thing that really sort of struck me about your hand at first glance, and this is always something that's worthy of investigation, is that you have what's known as a simian line. I don't like that term. It's quite a rare sign, and it's not that many people have it. Most people have it in one hand, if they have it at all. Now, I'm just very aware that actually you just want me to get to the point here because you're a fire hand. It's a merging of your heart and your headline on your left hand, and what it means is that you are absolute in your decision making. When you make a decision, you make it with your whole being. It provides an extra sort of intensity about you, laser focused intensity. And when you make a decision, it's not because you think something, it's because you know something. Effectively, the emotional decisions and the intellectual decisions kind of fuse as one. This is the emotional zone of the palms, and as a result, it drops both the heart line and the headline are pushed down on the palm, so it creates an extra sort of capacity of this emotional zone, and it kind of fuses both the decision making and the emotional decision making. They're kind of both as one. So the negatives to this can cause a person to be somewhat subjective. However, this is negated by the length of the fingers, the strength of them, and the fact that you don't have it on the right hand here. Also, the headline on the right hand drops quite low down into luna. It does. Yeah, so this creates this extra space between the head and the heartland. This negates the negatives. So the strengths here, so the negative aspects of this simian line are that a person with a simian line can become quite self-centered, quite selfish, quite demanding, quite possessive and jealous. However, the other qualities of your palms do negate this very well. The positives, and I suspect this is true, you're very able to focus yourself on one task or one project, one job at a time very, very well. Being interrupted for you is probably very annoying because you're highly productive when you're left alone. Now, as a result, because you are so intense in your efforts, you expect a great deal from yourself. And because of this, you expect the same from others. So in every endeavor in life, in relationships, in work, you also are highly demanding. Being that the similine is found in the left hand only, where it will or possibly create problems is in the domestic sphere, is in relationships, closer relationships, family, friends. You hurt easily, and those scars take quite some time to heal. This is your relationship line. It's pulling down towards the heart line, and this shows in the left hand. It's showing how you're feeling about the relationship at this time. You're being pulled down by the burden of it at the moment. Now, when I was carrying out, when I asked you if you'd like a reading, the questions that you had were around children and career. Now, children in palmistry, and I will do my best to answer this question, but the nature of children in palmistry is a very fickle subject. Children can be seen in several places. There's a family ring here. There's a family ring here. And off the attachment, relationship, or union lines, or marriage lines, as they're sometimes referred to, we can see children here as well. And I can quite clearly see 3. However, this is the left hand, and this shows us what's internal. This is perhaps a desire. On the right hand shows us what's material, practical, physical. It shows us the same thought, feeling, event, but the actual physical materialization, I suppose, of that. Now again, I can see this relationship and how it's affecting you. Again, I can see 3 children here as well. But, and this is a big but, because as I say, children are very fickle in palmistry. I've seen pets arise as children on the palms of people before now. The lines show us how we think and feel. So it's down to a matter of interpretation, and also it shows us the potential on the right hand for the amount of children. So sometimes miscarriages, abortion, sometimes, because of the day and age that we live in, a person could have had 7 children by this time, but they only have 1 because of contraception. So I see here that actually these are quite clear. And doing a little bit of detective work here, the first line, there's an island here, and this is sort of a little loop that's seen, a little kind of eye-like formation inside this line. Islands in palmistry are obstructions of that flow of energy. It shows some sort of malformation almost of that what should be a healthy straight line with no obstruction. And it rises up and touches the family ring here, and it creates this little island here. Islands are generally, as I say, negative in palmistry. However, this one, islands on the family ring are good. That's pretty much the only place in palmistry where it's a good thing. And this second line rises up here and touches it as well. So it's almost as though these are 2 attempts, and it's formed one. This is 1 child here. So I feel like as a result of 2 attempts, 2 conceptions, only 1 child is formed. A third is desired, or a second rather, because these are 2 attempts. So from that, looking at the right hand, I do think it's possible there is the possibility of a second child here. As I say, the right hand is material, this is physical, this is the practical. Curiously, there is what looks like a money line, and attached to that there's a sort of an obstacle in the way of this conception. So I don't know if there's some material obstacle around the conception of a second child. In any case, I think things are very difficult for you at home at the moment. Now, on Jupiter, you've got here clearly a teacher's square. And career-wise, now I'm going to get into your career, I think you are actually happiest in a role where you are explaining things, breaking down and passing on information. The pointed, it's not quite pointed, it's conic. Jupiter finger shows that it's more pointed than the other fingers. And Apollo here, your ring finger, is almost sort of spatulate. And this shows this kind of practical, it shows a desire to create sort of tangible results from efforts made. And obviously I could say that about you, what I know about you anyway. I know that you're a very process-driven person anyway. Inherently, you know, this Jupiter finger here, your index finger, is on the long side. And really these are the hands of a leader, a manager, a boss. But I would say first and foremost a teacher. And actually I see the teacher square on many people's hands, often just, you know, if you're a parent, well, you're in a teaching role. Now, one of the other things that really struck me about your palm is this here. This is your fate line, or otherwise known as a career line in modern Western palmistry. And I felt a bit uncomfortable about seeing this because of a few reasons. But then I reassured myself, this is the left hand, so I'll explain. The career line comes from, I'm doing some bad examples here, it comes from Luna, which is the place of travel, imagination, dreams. It's the unconscious side of your palm, and often a career that stems from this area is either someone who is working for people, for their benefit, and also someone who is working in the limelight in some way. It forks as it, you know, the roots of the career are divided, which shows that there was a desire to change or merge careers into one. You know, sometimes it's a hobby alongside what a person's doing, and they want to turn that into something a bit more lucrative. Now, being that this is the left hand and it's coming from a place of travel, the outside world, it's interesting because this primary career, as it reaches up towards the center of the hand, is joined by this desire, and it's heading in a place towards Jupiter. And as I say, this is the teacher square, so it's heading up towards this place of judgment, authority, decision making, ambition, ego. These are all Jupiterian qualities. And then as it does, it kind of trails off into a place of a more normal, steady career path that heads up towards Saturn, this place of duty, doing the right thing, the sense of right and wrong, planning the inevitable. And planning, with you in particular, this is your outer Mars area, and it's very well developed. This is an exceptional outer Mars, and so is your inner Mars. And really, it shows that you have a great spirit around you, an excellent and a strong personality, and you have a strong fight in you. When you know something is right, you'll stop at nothing. So really, if you're not in a career role where what you know is respected, or if you're unable to fight for what you know and make a change in areas where you're not having the effect that you feel that you could be making, it's going to bring you down. And initially when I saw this and I saw this crossing over here, I became a bit concerned, because the crossing of fate lines are not good. It's not a good omen. But then I remembered this is the left hand, and this is what's internal. And actually, it shows a career change here before the fate line meets the headline, which is typically for most people at the age of 35. And as we obviously know, this right here is where you've made your recent career change at the age of 31 or so. This branching off here as it reaches upwards, it shows potential. It reaches up towards this, which is a decision. And this right here is inner Mars, this place of action, determination, drive. Mars is this god of war. It's what we call on when we need to make a change. And so you've made this decision relating from the, it's touching the head and the heart line, as both are one. You've made a change, and this has affected you on every level. It wasn't easy for you to do, and there's some indecision around it as well. Well, not indecision, but there's certainly some fears here, which is understandable. And again, of course, I could say this from what I already know about you, even from asking the question. Of course, I could say this about you. But what I feel will happen here, career-wise, is that it's not easy. It's not easy. As I say, there's an island here. Islands are obstructions. The career line has to pass through a phase of a couple of years, 3 perhaps, of difficulty. This is a difficult period for you. And eventually, from, I'm going to say about 35 onwards, there's already desires here, almost as soon as you begin the role, to change the job again, you're not sure about it. This is a second career role, and the fact that these are crossing here is just showing that it's showing worry, it's showing frustration, is showing the potential for everything to just go wrong, and this is all what's internal. But when we look at what's actually occurring, what I think will happen is that you will end up in the same or very similar career, a similar job role as the one you were in Home First, line manager of the Home First service, and I think that'll happen at the age of around about 35, and I think you'll be much happier after that at this time. So that's about the size of it. At the age of 56 or so, there's going to be a big move, a literal move. I think you'll move away at this time. Yeah, I think you'll move away. And it's around that time I want you to pay particular attention to your health. I mean, it's never too early to look after yourself, really, but it's around this time I want you to pay particular attention to, your health. And it's actually work related. You're going to be at risk of burning yourself out at this point. This is a way off yet, and the lines will change dramatically by this time anyway. Now, did I say 35 when you start your new career? It might be a little bit later than that, actually. Might be a couple of years after, 37 perhaps. Sorry. However, the good news is, after this time, work is much more rewarding. Now then, I believe you are low in potassium. I see this in many people's palms, and I saw this in my partner's palm quite recently. And I recommended that she take, and you might think of this as complete quackery, and that's absolutely fine. But there's nothing to lose by trying if that's the case. And this is the argument that I used against my partner. She tried it, and now she is reaping the benefits. So it's homeopathy. It's known as Phos, as in, phosphate, I suppose. Potassium in any case. It's a tissue salt, and the company name is New Era. They are salt-soluble tablets that kind of dissolve underneath your tongue. They're vegetarian, I believe they're gluten-free. I'd be very surprised if they weren't. In any case, they will help with lots of things. Brain fog, confidence, insomnia, and overall energy levels. And they are just an incredibly non-threatening, non-addictive, no contraindications with this one. harm-free antidepressant. And that's not to say that you're depressed. However, there is certainly a tendency to, climb inside your own head quite a lot. Bananas are particularly high in potassium. I mean, fruit in general, fruit juices. We could all do with more of that in our diets. But at the age of 56 in particular, there may be a need to take a step back from work, from life. You can see this. This is actually a bit of a travel line. It's where health is concerned. But as I say, it's a way off yet. And, palms, they change all the time. So what I'd like you to do is, in about a year's time, I'd like you to send me clear pictures like this of your palms again, and I will review. If that's all right, if you want to. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. So, yeah, again, sorry this has just taken so long to get to you. As a result of being hurt quite easily and these scars taking a long time to heal, I think it's possible to fall into a trap of not trusting, and I think it's important to not to fall into a trap of surrounding yourself by people who you won't, deceive or trick you or somehow hurt you. It's important to surround yourself with strong characters, to challenge yourself, allow yourself to be challenged, because it's only through that we grow. It's important that the people closest to you identify with your aims completely, at the same time as ensuring that those very same people aren't just saying what it is that you want to hear. Please do try out the potassium tissue salts. I recommend the maximum dose for 1 month. After that time, if it doesn't work, there's no real loss. It's not that expensive. If it does, great. There's literally no negative. My partner reluctantly tried it with a lot of skepticism, and I noticed over a week or two she stopped napping throughout the day, stopped complaining of being low of energy, low of mood, and I finally asked her how she felt about them, and she said they're working. So that's good. I do sincerely wish you all the best with the questions that you asked me, because I know that they are the most pressing issues, particularly children. And I hope all I've said has made sense and that it's been useful and that you gained some value from it. And please do drop by. As I say, we all miss you. And thank you for watching. Thank you for letting me read your palms as well. All the best to you, Laura. It's been a pleasure.